There are few games in this day and age that we would describe as delightful. We live in a console era of gritty shooters, overhyped collectathons, and struggling MMOs. What exactly is there to be delighted about? Throw the cynicism aside, and we're not exactly short of great games this generation, with all platforms flashing their goods on a regular basis. And it's great to see quote-unquote indie games becoming a moot term, as smaller games are welcomed into a more prominent release schedule. Lovely Planet is what happens when you mix Unreal Tournament-esque precision movement with a visual style that bears a resemblance to Katamari Damacy. And while you won't be attempting to consume buildings and the lives of innocents by plastering them to a giant ball, you will be shooting red squares in the face with the urgency of someone who really needs the toilet. From what we can understand, there are red shapes with angry faces terrorizing indigo shapes with horrified faces. We don't know why. We don't have a clue as to why level names range from airport to bathroom in rapid succession. We're baffled at how or why our controlled character sprints through each stage brandishing a dismantled Nerf gun. We just don't have the answers, but that's okay. Lovely Planet is insane, but it's controlled insanity. Pleasant, lovely almost. As we've alluded to, the premise of the game's simple. You got two key objectives in each stage that have to be fulfilled. Shoot all the enemies and reach the end. There are different factors that go into your star rating at the end of a stage. Completion time and accuracy. These objectives are helped by the fact that Lovely Planet is hypnotically addictive. It's packaged with that quick-fire Super Meat Boy style of play, where you're retrying the same level 5 times in 30 seconds. The process of trying and trying again gets frustrating, but it never gets dull. That said, the game is pretty much a one-trick pony. But it's one trick it does exceedingly well. The game is designed around the concept of the speed run, and rewards you for completing levels as swiftly and efficiently as possible. This objective doesn't change throughout the game's entire span. Thankfully, this is a complaint somewhat alleviated by the short-form level design. While that core of speedrunning is something often associated with gamers of a very high skill level, it's approached with a fair learning curve that gives players time to adjust to the quirks of the control scheme. The left trigger is jump, for some otherworldly reason. Maybe they were taking cues from Avalanche Studios when they were doing Mad Max, who knows? The learning curve very steadily introduces new concepts to the player, and Lovely Planet does a good job of making any new mechanic the focus of the next few levels, before mixing it in with the stuff you've already dealt with. You'll make short work of the standard projectile firing enemies, but what about when they're mixed in with giant apples you have to shoot before they touch the ground? Red puddles that chase you down and enemies that fire homing bullets? It makes for what is eventually a hectic experience, but one that is oh so fun! One thing you'll notice about Lovely Planet is its striking visuals. It's by no means graphically intensive, but the aesthetic is pleasing and again evokes memories of the Katamari games. Everything looks like it's made out of cake, which is quite fitting considering nothing in the game resembles an animate object. The grass is a flat shade of green, it's like icing. The blobs of deadly red are jelly tots, and so on. What we're trying to say is Lovely Planet certainly looks lovely, and it makes us hungry. Oh, the soundtrack is nice too. Not as off the wall as Katamari, but every track carries a pleasant tune. Lovely Planet strips first-person shooters down to their basest formula: running, jumping, and shooting. There's nothing left for error, on the game's part at least. It's a clean break from your typical FPS, and that, along with the visual style, may put off some players. But fans of highly skilled base games like Super Meat Boy and Rogue Legacy will find something to love in this adorably difficult, lovely planet.